Hello, viewers. My name is Manoj Daryanani, and we on Caribbean Connect this afternoon have Honorable Ambassador Subhas Chandra Mungra. Welcome, Ambassador.
Thank you.
And may I introduce you to the rest of the viewers? We have here the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, the former Minister of Finance for the Republic of Suriname, and the Ambassador to the United States, to the United Nations, and the OAS. Welcome again, Ambassador. Please.
Thank you, sir. The pleasure is mine. I feel very honored with this invitation because I think there are so many changes going on
Absolutely.
in the world, but all of them, they have a tremendous impact on our own region.
Absolutely.
And the second thing I would like to make is that no individual, no country, no region can develop itself individually. They
Absolutely.
have to take into calculation what's happening around us in the world. It's like
True.
climate change. No country border
Yes.
is observed there.
Absolutely.
Once the power of climate change is there, it goes from Suriname through Guyana to Brazil,
Absolutely.
Caribbean, everywhere. So
True.
we are forced to sit together and increase cooperation one way or the other. So once again,
Absolutely.
the honor is mine.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. I understand that by profession, you are an economist
Yes.
and you're also a university lecturer. So we are looking
Yeah.
forward to hearing more from you
Yeah.
on various subjects that I'm going to be asking
Yeah,
you little questions upon.
Yeah. Feel
All right.
free
Thank
to
you.
ask anything you would like to know.
Thank you. Thank you. Ambassador, Suriname joined the CARICOM in the late 1990s.
Yeah,
And we understand that you were the then Minister of Foreign Affairs.
exactly.
So please tell us more about what inspired this move and why was this step important at that time?
It was important at that time because Suriname got its independence from the Netherlands in 1975.
Correct.
So almost 20 years we were sitting on the wall as an observer, and we did not effectively cooperate with the Caribbean
I see.
because as an observer you don't have voting rights and neither decision rights. So I thought 20 years sitting as an observer in the seat is nice, but it doesn't mean much to the inhabitants of the country because in fact we were still outside of the CARICOM as a collective political power. So
Right.
the question, why was it so? It was so because we were still heavily under the influence of Dutch motherland, so-called motherland,
Correct.
the former colonial power, and apart from contrary to the British colonial system, in the Dutch colonial system, Suriname, when it got its independence, we received 2 billion Dutch currency
Right.
to invest in various investment
Infrastructure.
projects.
Yes.
So if you get I think once you have the money,
Yeah.
the only thing you have to write the appropriate projects,
Right.
and you have plenty of work to do. So I think that might be the reason that Suriname did not look for further financing
Okay.
and was much interested in the other project. It was the the colonial effect,
Effect of
the
that.
money that came with
Correct.
the independence.
Correct.
But I thought 20 years is 20 years. if you are independent, you have to fill it in and
True.
to show. You cannot say your whole life as a baby. There comes a time that you have to
Independent,
see for yourself.
Absolutely.
What is the real world like?
Next step, yes.
Yeah, that's I think that's the reason that I said now it's the time. I had a meeting with the then Secretary General of the CARICOM, a very nice man,
Okay.
and he explained to me what is the procedure to
Okay.
follow.
Okay.
That's where it started.
Okay.
And then President of Suriname, Finitian,
Yes.
he agreed, and we did a proposal to the parliament,
Okay.
and they also approved that Suriname should file request
For membership.
for membership
Beautiful.
of the CARICOM.
Beautiful. Interestingly, Ambassador, do you think that the English language could have posed a problem then? Because we were getting our education in Dutch. So
Yeah. That is not so much, because the lingua franca in Suriname then
yes.
was called Negro English.
Okay.
It was the language that the slave masters and the traders and the ship captains, they communicate in this English, which is
Okay.
a mix of African language.
That's
and
what we call the
English.
Sanantongo.
So Sanantongo.
Sanantongo. Okay. Okay. Yes.
So it was the language that was used among the various ethnic groups.
Right.
So English was spoken by almost everybody.
Okay. So you personally did not think that it could be a barrier to it? A barrier.
A main barrier.
Okay.
Because everybody spoke it already.
Okay.
Even the youth. So
okay.
What may be needed, of course, is specialistic training.
Right.
Glad
to hear
English.
that. Wonderful step. Wonderful step. Thank you, Ambassador. My next question is hinted towards, the entire world is in a financial dip, and that goes for the CARICOM too.
Yeah.
Right. So, what would you suggest? How could we go forward as a community of nations in the Caribbean?
Well, I think I agree with you. You quietly or correctly observe that the whole world is changing now.
Correct.
We are in a different world.
Absolutely.
And as people change, every 7 days you produce so many billions of new cells that you are not the old guy or woman anymore.
True.
The same goes for the earth.
Yes.
And we are forced to adjust now.
Right.
These changes we see every day, from climate change, there are economic change, financial change in trade, education system, and we must, if we want to survive and not to get too much damage from this new power of change,
yeah.
we have to act. And what the Caribbean should do, I would say the main thing is to increase the quality of the global information.
Okay.
So you have to advance ICT education at all levels of education, so that we can make use now. In fact, we have to exploit the new possibility to get information globally all over the place for free always. You don't have to buy books.
Yes.
I don't buy books. I go to Mr. Google or other
several search
ICT,
engines. Yes.
And I can get complete books, series of books.
Right.
When I was a student, it was difficult. I had to go to the library because the books were too expensive.
Agreed.
But now, You know, every child, every girl, every woman have access
Yes.
to worldwide information.
Yes.
So my
yes.
first time was say, make use of that.
Right.
You need information, especially women.
Yes.
Nobody should come and tell you how the world is and how you should act. Please find out for yourself. You know, this. It has to do with my personal vision. It has to do with my, let's say, my religious belief. The
Yes.
Vedas.
Yes.
The Vedas say you have to find for yourself
Definitely.
who created this world.
Right. Right.
And if you want to know it for sure, you have to study some what we call Dutch Deeltjes theory
Yeah.
is atomic theory, because
Right.
it has to do with
Matter.
mathematics and atomic
Yes.
theories.
Starting with the nucleus.
If you know, study. Once you know that, then
Yes.
you know what created this
What created
world.
it,
And
exactly.
the same goes for information technology.
Absolutely.
You must increase the volume of information technology.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And I would say we have been driving too long on some wrong visions.
Okay.
Let me put it this way: it is not true that there are 4 or 5 basic factors of production.
Okay.
One is availability of natural resources.
Right.
Because you can have the natural resources, if you don't have the know-how,
Knowledge. Yes.
you cannot process them.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
That is one thing. The Suriname, for instance, the last 100 years, the gold was there.
Yes.
The stories about El Dorado
Yes.
in Guyana and Suriname
Yes.
was
Prominent. Yes.
was prominent. Yes, because now we are digging
And now
gold.
we are able to tap into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The second thing, if you have raw materials, you need the know-how to do it.
Correct.
The second thing, you need labor. So it's
Yes.
a major factor of production. But also labor is not does not determine
No.
the speed of development in a country, because it depends how much modern technology do you put in the head of the labor, how much
Correct.
technology advanced
The labor force
education does
is.
it have.
Yes.
And let me give a simple explanation. If you produce cement stones to build a house, if you work with the sun to dry the stones, you cannot make more than a few hundreds.
Correct.
But today you need only
The brick ovens where they dry them.
you need the cement.
Yes.
You press a button and
Yes.
they produce the cement for you and the water, and you send the cement automatically.
Correct.
So to a dry oven,
Yes.
and you produce not 100 or
Thousands of
300,
them. Yes.
10,000
Thousands of them.
of
Yes.
these bricks a
Absolutely.
day.
Yes.
So it is technology
Yes.
that determines, not
Correct.
labor, the factor labor in itself.
Yes.
So Guyana and Suriname should give highest priority in increasing the technology
Right.
in various sectors of production.
Okay. All right.
Then you increase. Then, apart from raw materials and labor, the third thing we say, you also need the capital.
Correct.
Capital in terms of money.
Right.
Of course, you can have the capital, but also there we have a limitation.
Right.
And what are you going to do with the capital? What kind of investment in
right.
what direction?
Correct.
And capital, you need labor to do the processing. So
Yes.
capital also has its limitation. Then you need one last thing, that is technology. Yeah?
True. True.
And today, and this is not my vision, but the father of economic growth in the United States, Professor Solow, he wrote this theory. What all of this capital, raw material,
Natural
and
resources,
labor, what they need is the state-of-the-art technology.
Yes.
And a country will develop as let's say at the speed
rapid
in
pace.
which
Yes.
they adapt
That
technology.
Yes, and put it into place.
Put it in the labor.
Right.
So that's as a consequence. Second thing the Caribbean nation should do is to increase education for women.
Right.
By doing that, you double the labor capacity.
Correct.
If you don't do that, you will see that the small Caribbean nation, we are forced to import skilled labor from abroad.
Yes.
But a country can only develop real if his own people
contribute towards
are the carriers of the development.
Correct.
Because you know what happened in Libya?
Right.
They built the oil refineries.
Yes.
But all the guys in the oil refineries were French engineers.
Fantastic.
When they came in political conflict with Gaddafi,
Yes.
the French called all their engineers back.
Right.
And Gaddafi couldn't run the refinery, and the whole economy went down. We have to prevent that.
Yes.
Because as economists, I would say you should use only the word real development if you yourself, your inhabitants, your woman and man are the carriers of that development. So try to put as much local people
to work
into and that
force,
is not automatic. It depends on technology, on education.
Correct.
We have to invest tremendous amount of money,
yes.
high priority to education, higher education. But today, another factor is equally important, and that is health. Because again, the creator of Earth teaches that I can sense something you don't even see.
Correct.
We call it the virus.
Correct.
We don't see it, but the world
is there.
Is on
and
its back. Yeah, the virus hit so hard that all big nations went down, and from China, Russia, all over the place.
Partial contribution to the financial dip. Definitely.
Thanks to this virus. So you have to protect your nation. Invest sufficient in health that you can you should be ready if any other variation of corona would come.
Right.
And the second thing is technology.
Yes.
But you yourself, your people should have more than 80%, 90% if possible.
To be on the workforce.
I'm not saying you should you should not have foreigners in your country. You might need 5%, 10%, not more than that. See to it that your own people got the training.
Correct.
If we don't have some special subject in which we can train our people, you can let foreigners come, but after two years, 1 year, they should transfer the knowledge to the people. The golden rule is for the Suriname and the Caribbean or developed countries, see to it that your own women and men are the carriers on the shoulder of the economic development.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And that is what I would say
Very
with
interesting.
regard to the factors.
Very interesting. But from a macroeconomic level, Ambassador, what would you suggest that we in the Caribbean do? Besides technology and information technology and labor force, you explained that extremely well. So,
with regard to the macroeconomic development, I would say, first of all, the Caribbean should give priority with this time to real integration,
okay,
which means not integration on a nice document. You have to have a supervisor commission that see to it that when we agree certain rules to open the market
right,
for both parties to increase the trade volume, then we should not use most of the time to discuss the obstacles. That is what is happening now. No, we have to discuss for what other field of cooperation, not only goods, but also services
yes,
today.
Sure.
And that is lacking. I think the economic integration, and you knew that today, all countries in the world are forming a team.
Yes,
they are working together. We cannot go individual.
Right. We cannot play an island.
Yeah.
We need to be...
Island economy is of the past. It's history. We have to find a way to work together. And don't leave it to the politicians alone.
Right.
Because another golden rule...
Interesting.
People would not like that I'm saying this. I used to say to my students, be aware, neither the government nor the private sector are holy cows. So you have to fight corruption, real.
Right, absolutely, yes.
If you don't do that,
yes,
only a few will become rich. In Guyana, in Suriname, and you name it, in Trinidad. You have to fight that. If you don't do that, it's a waste of time.
True, Ambassador. Thank you. That was an excellent thing to say. I want to ask you on the microeconomic level, focusing on the microeconomic level, I would like to define, when we say a community, a Caribbean community, we consist of a block of nations, right?
Yeah.
So then when you narrow it down, a nation it consists of societies, families, individuals, and so forth, right? So what is your opinion? How do we move forward, Ambassador, as piece of advice to individuals and families on the microeconomic level? What would you suggest to us?
I think for on the micro level, for individuals, they should find ways and means to increase the control, the supervision, and that you say, the real society is not a church. You don't believe that it's too simplistic. The community in which the society in which we live, they have to value every movement of the government or of companies, every agreement the government signed. They have to test it and see where are the booby traps.
So you are saying social monitoring. Social monitoring.
Social monitoring. Micro monitoring.
At micro level.
Don't leave it to the politicians or to the private sector.
Right.
Because development is not for the few.
Right.
Development is only true if it reaches all people in society.
Entirety.
Not only just a few.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So, a very important question. Where do you see the Caribbean in this new digital era?
I think the Caribbean, given the natural resources we have, they have to do two things. First of all, try as much as possible to process local available resources such as oil and gas, or agricultural resources, or
Even
bauxite.
mining,
Yeah, the
mining sector.
also agriculture. These are products which are in high need by the industrial country. If you
Right,
have a
right, right.
factory and you don't have the raw materials, then
Then
the
you're not
factory
anywhere.
is that.
Right,
So
right, right.
we have to internally, each of the Caribbean countries, to look, how can I speed up development? How can I get the appropriate technology to speed the production, the efficiency? And as I told you, efficiency is not a function of just capital.
Right,
It's
right.
a
It's a
function of
combination.
the degree of technology
Right.
that you put in all of these production factors.
All the aspects.
Labor doesn't determine growth, economic growth in a
Right.
country, neither
Right.
efficiency.
Right, right, right.
Capital doesn't decide that also.
Correct.
The availability of natural resources. In today's world, the only determined factor of production and of efficiency is the technology you put in the heads of the managers, of the laborers, etc. And
Right,
I think
right,
that is these are the new opportunities, and I think we should not only increase the participation of young women and boys in the labor market. We should double the labor market by giving priority to women in
Entrepreneurs.
the private sector,
Right,
and
right, right,
increase
right.
their skill. And we should keep in mind the old story, since the French Revolution, people say the production sector, production determines economic development.
Right.
I say that is nonsense. It's history. It's from the 19th century, from the
Right.
French Revolution.
Right.
There was the saying, laissez passer, le monde voit à lui-même. Government don't put rules for the private sector.
Private sector. Right.
Because
right,
everything will go automatically. I
Right.
say no.
Yes.
The production will evolve, but 90% of the results will go to the private sector, the owners of the factory.
Private.
That
yeah,
isn't
absolutely.
development. So the power of the economy is not in the hand of the production sector,
Yes.
but the consumers.
Right.
And
right, right.
Since the consumer are not organized,
Yes.
like the labor unions
Yes.
or the private sector,
Yes.
they have their clubs, where they go, where you and me are not allowed.
Right.
But there they make monopolistic agreement.
Controls and changes.
Yeah,
yes.
they do.
yes.
Let's don't fight, have a barrel,
Right.
and let's keep the price, at the level of my factory.
Setups.
But I don't have a efficient factory as yours, so
Right.
let's put it at 20% higher or 50%. Forget about the consumer. You
Perfect.
have to empower the consumer sector in
Right.
the economy.
Right.
Then alone, the fruits of development will go down to the consumers. But nobody is going to do it for the consumers. The politicians will say, yes, we are for the consumers.
Right.
But after the election, check who are the people who have more access to the politicians.
Right. Right. Right.
It
right,
is
right.
not the consumer. They are even not organized.
I understand.
The others are. So these things have to change.
Right.
The consumers have the power.
Power.
This again, I'm sorry, I'm become a spiritual man in my old age.
No
This
problem.
is a lesson from, as Mahatma Gandhi said, from the Bhagavad Gita. There and the Bhagavad Gita came from the Indian philosophy, the Vedas and the Rig Veda. There it is said that the ordinary man and woman, they have the power in their hand. If you organize them in an efficient way, you can prevent all abuse in the society. And that's what Mahatma Gandhi did. He said only one thing, don't buy English good.
Right.
And the mighty military empire of the British
Had to crash.
went down.
Yes.
They went broke.
Because the
you know.
consumers decided.
Yeah,
The consumers
and
decided.
he told the president of South Africa, when you should do the same thing. Do not cooperate.
Right.
You don't have to fight. Nobody have to get killed. You don't cooperate, and the government will go down.
Yes.
The same thing, Martin Luther King. If you go, I would beseech everybody, go to Atlanta, visit the first first etage,
The first floor.
yeah, the first floor of the Martin Luther King
Yes.
Museum, which
Right.
is next to the church,
Right.
and he has a Mahatma Gandhi room, and there you see where he is discussing with Mahatma Gandhi, and that's why
Correct.
he became such a great man.
Yes.
And the same thing. So the consumers has the power.
Right.
They give the power to the politicians, but who gets the best, the most profit? It is the politicians. So the consumers should increase their power in each of the Caribbean society. They have to get organized better.
Right.
The labor unions, they of course they make nice agreement with the companies, and even there we see the labor unions get increases, but in Suriname we see 50% of the labor unions work for the government and 50 for the private sector, and the private sector unions get regular increase in salary. We call they have other kind of agreements, CAO.
Yes.
And the government sector,
Yes. It's
the
a different
other
trade
50%,
union.
they have CLO.
Yes.
And CLO is the salary there
Yes.
is like not less than half.
Exactly.
of
It's a different.
the-
It's a different kind of
so
trade
it's
union.
a lot of work to do.
True. True.
But I would say don't believe too much. You know, if politicians, labor unions, because the private sector also have close meetings with
Right.
the labor union leaders. They know
Right.
what they want. You don't see any poor labor union leaders in the Caribbean society.
True.
They live in villas, and then they drive big car, because the private sector knows where are their weak points.
True.
If we get this labor union, then we will save on our expenditure. But
Thank you.
once, finally, I would say, please increase the power of women in your society. Protect them, because you are seeing what's happening
Yes.
all over the world
Correct.
with women. Don't believe politicians blind.
Yes.
This is not a church, it's the real world.
Right.
So you have to increase the control system, the system to make sure that the
balance
fruits
is
of
maintained.
the society, the natural resources
Are also protected and maintained.
protected and distributed
Yes.
on a fair base to
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you,
I take
sir.
this opportunity to thank you very much. It was an honor speaking to you today.
No,
And
that's mine.
thank you. Thank you on
Thank
behalf of Caribbean Connect viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this program. And thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Dime Network, your business channel.